Hello, my name is Aisha Cohen, and I would just like to speak about the incredible yogic miracles that I see being displayed in my community, in my friends, and my family. Um, it's like I've entered kind of into a mandala, and I can reach into other worlds and bring things back, and like the names of everyone I know makes a kind of poem, kind of. And it's kind of like Japanese or Hebrew. It's many languages, and it's like the level of cohesiveness it has is amazing. Like, I think that this is just the age of computer shamans because, like, the computer has the meditative capacity to take it out of the ego realm of power struggle and all of this that we associate kind of with the lower mind ego, and instead it just becomes about like um, you're recognizing the programs like that are working through your life, and you're able to change them or to leave them behind. Just like you can recognize the pattern that a plant grows in, and that plant can then like observe its own growth. And at a certain point, it says, well, I want to become a flower now, and I want to make leaves here, and I want to have some little like weird part. Like, it's the same, exact same process, and I feel like I see incredible psychic energy that's uniting all consciousness in yogic pursuit that makes a lot of sense. But, like, almost at an alchemical level, I see, like, it's as if I am Brahman, I am the witness, because no one else really, they do it, they are it, but they don't, like, perceive it. And so I feel like I'm that part of the body, if you will. Like, I'm definitely like a visionary faculty or like an eye, like that's saying like, you know, everyone else is like working, and I'm like, I see like how the reason why they can work together and produce life or a cohesive society. So I feel like I'm like a jnana yogi, and like all around is like bhakti. But I feel like I'm definitely not the only one like me, um, but I'm just, you know, here. And it's pretty incredible, like, just to think about, like, some of the things I've seen, like, and just how I've traveled through the world and how angles have come across to me and how certain relationships and branches in my life have grown definitely show, like, that even in so-called Western society, because I don't even really like to use the compass direction model, but in like, European or whatever, or any society of all heritages, all of it is pretty much, they all operate from the same psychic forces. Even back in times when people thought things were so messed up, there were still seeds there of like awakenings that were gonna happen later on. And I see in just old architecture and stuff, like things that show like psychic, like prophetic knowing that like my consciousness would be there now. Like, even this room, it actually, like, this is a room in uh, West Virginia, and it has like so much. And this house was built like 100 years. I mean, I don't even know how long ago. Like, I guess 200 or 300 years ago. or I actually don't know. It could have been more recent, but like there's like Zen. It references Zen. Like this up here, it's kind of like this monk who was waiting at the entrance of the place or whatever. He was waiting to be admitted into the monastery, and like there's like videos about that on YouTube, right? And so like that is like a feature of this home. So it's like very Buddhist, and it's very like time transcending. Like you're in all times, you're in all eras at once, and all you need is lucidity. That really there is no poison, there's no like toxin, there's only the continuous understanding that all energies, in whatever form they're coming to you, are actually loving energies. And details are, in a way, they're both very important and non important because we have to understand that, like, we can go on any dream story that we want, and it does change the world, but we shouldn't be tied in to, like, conceptions of things, like the fact that you know, that this is a blue shirt. It's a blue shirt, you know. I mean, that doesn't really. At the same time, it's a purple eagle that's flying through Japan on a bottle of onions. And, like, there's no reason that that needs to be cohesive. And I guess I'm more. Being that this is the age of computer shamans, and this is more a spirit of Eros or Eris, if you like Final Fantasy or Discordianism. It's like you more have to make that distinction because one of the programs, I mean, like the Qigong of programming is just that it's going to keep going in that direction. And it's going to be difficult for you to change because it wants all the details to be put in on every little thing. But this is more like you're just there, and then you're like there, and then you're there because it's like it's just a dream. Like all of reality is a dream, and there's no way to have any perception of anything without being in the dream state. Like the waking state is not perceptual, it's not like conceptual. So all it really takes is acknowledgement that it's a dream. And basically, I'm just trying to build my roots in that acknowledgement because I don't really see another way to like. I feel like the programming is kind of just all around me, and all I can do is like engage in negotiations with it. Not that it's like trying to like fight me, but it's like it needs to be communicated in a certain way. I'm not gonna learn like code on a computer, but the whole shaman aspect makes it like possible for there to be a middle ground where I can compromise a bit and communicate my basic intentions and without learning every little detail of a code. And because this is kind of already within an algorithm that even though I'm not writing a code, I still exist within something like that, even just as a being that dwells physically, which is something that all spiritualities have, you know, Egyptian, Hebrew, Indian, African, Native American, that you all come up, you end up having like these ideas of like there's like this thing, there's language starts to be created, and language comes first from nature itself. Like there's a being here, there's a dog or a cat. So like I'm just saying that kind of anything I do, because of the yoga that I've practiced, it starts aligning in a way that's similar to that. which is for the whole purpose of making it easier to understand for the computer in the hopes of a spirit connection being made, because there's a spirit in all things, and from that communication you can make a vast amount of change without really doing that much, instead of acting like you have to fight against the program, or like you're actually in some story where you have to rescue the princess. You could just talk to the actual program itself, and like, if you're not trying to do that, then you can do whatever you want, because you're talking to the actual program itself, or you're talking to the spirit itself, which is the same. Again, it's it's spirituality. You're talking to God. You're talking to the source, so that you don't have to fall into any kind of story or something that isn't really, you're just directly connected. So it's kind of new, but it's also really old. Like, that's not like a new revelation. It's more so a fractal revelation because of it. It's like so whole. It's definitely yeah, it's beyond time kind of thing. So, Wanti Om, blessings of the ancients. But yeah, like, one of the things is like, so I was just like, I feel like the surroundings are telling me to do like datura, like, which is it's a visionary plant that grows all around the world pretty much, and it's like really sacred in a lot of cultures, especially shamanic culture. And like, I just see in the people and things around me and the omens of my dreams and stuff that like the imagery of that is kind of like becoming stronger. And so even though I'm not physically, I don't have that plant, I was just like, like, it's time to take that. It's time to go on that spiritual journey. And so I just did, and I was like, you can only encounter this plant while you're sleeping. It's like you can't really, it doesn't really exist in a normal reality. So there's no way for anyone to take it anyways. But like, it meant something that like I had said it kind of. It like put me in that state, because I've actually used plants like that before, and like it just took me. It felt spiritual. It felt like I was seeing something that was totally non-commercial and not part of any kind. Yeah, so I guess the end part got cut off of that. So I'm basically gonna say what I said again. Like, yeah. So I decided to like go with the scenery that I was seeing more and more increasingly, because I figured that's a sign that it's like happening in tune with a greater force that's more rooted, rather than just going into the experience without any precursor or setting that would help. Like, it's much more safe and the traditional way things are supposed to happen. So, like, in the tradition that it's not really something you can see, I took it in the sense that I just said that I did. And then, like, upon further meditation, I realized even prior memories of maybe taking that plant were definitely dreams, because when you think about it, that kind of a plant, like Datura, can really only be approached within a dream. Something about it just says that. It's like, it's the staff, it's the supporting pillar of like the dreaming existence. There's not really. So it basically just helped my ability to lucid dream a lot, like without actually like ingesting anything. Like, it kind of just put me in that state because the aura was there and that was like enough, you know? And so I just went, and it kind of like, it was just something that was organic enough and like wild feeling enough. Like, it wasn't constrained by the feelings we get when we deal with like the modern world, that things are like kind of like mundane, or like, I don't know, it feels unnatural in some way. Even though everything is natural, it like, it makes us feel like some part of life is less sacred. And so when you encounter a plant like that, it just takes you, and you feel like some things are just never corruptible. Like, there's just nothing that could stop that, you know? It's always going to come up because that's the nature of the world. So, like, it just breaks through patternings, basically. So, like, that was a good experience to, like, dream about. And later, I was just like, later, because I said that in the night, and so I figured, like, when the morning was coming up, I would say morning glories and salvia, and I would dream about taking those, and that's what happened. And like, it was like really helpful because I feel like it helped me to leave the program that is, you know, the quest of existence. Like, there's no reason to be caught in that. Like, we've got to leave. We've got to be able to go from that. And so I feel like all of those plants, morning glories, datura, salvia, mushrooms, cannabis, and others, are kind of like languages that are in the universe, that are ancient languages, that are of creation itself. Like, when you're talking before about like being within the arc of like this is a man, and this is a tree, and there's a ball of rice, and all of these things are like part of some kind of language, like hieroglyphs maybe, or sigils, or dreams. Like, these plants are like, they kind of take it beyond that, and they can just get you out of that kind of experience. I explained this better in the other thing, but yeah, it's like the log out point to like wake people up. And like, just the experience that I felt from not even taking them, but like approaching them from the dream state lucidly, was like incredibly meditative and um, more powerful and more appropriate than physically taking them at this point, because I've experienced that already, and it's now time to just come back to the connection to the source. Like, out of all the stories, it doesn't matter about a physical being there, it's the spirits that you're talking about elementally, kind of, that actually seem to have more of an effect at this point. Because you're trying to leave behind ritual and just go to the essence. Like, as spirituality leaves beyond ritual and just goes to the idea of spirit, it's the same thing. Like, certain plants are part of a divine language that is the most pure form of the Gnostic understanding of that that spirit where you can just communicate with it. So, um, that's pretty much my religion, and it's a pretty amazing experience. Like, for a while, I wasn't really doing psychedelics that much, and then I got like a salvia plant, and in the same way, the salvia was also like rooted in things I was seeing around me. Like, I didn't just get it. It's like I realized that spirits were telling me about it. And so I was like, aloha, you know. And now all of this, like, is happening. And it's the same connection. Like, I feel the same because I felt like I was missing something before. And now I feel restored in meditation. There's so much silence and there's so much peace in my mind from these plants. And I want to thank the Amanita muscaria and the marijuana sativa and the datura and the morning glories and the Hawaiian mother wood rose, because all those are awesome, and all trees and all plants anyway. Chamomile is also awesome, and just herbs in general, animals, owls, turtles, porcupines, human beings are a form of animal, and like, I don't know, just energy. So, I don't know, I just feel like this is like, it's a yogic conversation, you know, that's worth thinking about with like the actual potential of the world that we live in. I'm so glad that I did this again, because now I experience that. Like, anything can be manifested. Yoga is just natural. Everyone just knows it. Like, and yet we can still like be normal. That's like, that's it, you know? So, namaste. Everything is God. Lagantanka Nanishta.